Welcome to Video Game Pipe Dream Game of the Year 2011. Today you have myself, Lee. Rob is joining us from panelsofawesome.com.
Howdy.
The game editor over there, so we'll have to hear what he has to say about his top games of the year. And of course, Mike Haynes, a partner in crime, also of panelsofawesome.com, Video Game Pipe Dream. You guys are both showing up on the Tits the Iceberg podcast. This is the crossover. This is Flintstones. This is Jetsons.
Flintstones meets Jetsons, yep.
We do something a little different on VGPD. We do a top 7. Our top 7 games of the year, and then we're going to do a 3 worst of the year, and that's going to be completely separate from this. So we're going to run them down, and we'll just go in a circle and run them down, and be heavily edited. So, starting off, let's go to Rob first. Rob, you're number 7.
Number 7.
Number 7, I'm going to have to go with Final Fantasy IV Complete Edition for the PSP.
Huh. Well, we're off to a great start.
Yeah.
So why would you give this 20-year-old rehash a game of the year?
Well, to be honest, there's quite a bit of extra content that they added to it. All the tie-ins from the Wii, Final Fantasy IV, the After Years,
which
are
no one
all
played.
added.
Which no one played.
Yeah, nobody played them on the Wii because you had to buy them all separately. This is all kind of everything that you could have wanted from Final Fantasy IV over the last 20 years, as it were, is all into one spot. So
cool,
and it plays very well. They rebalanced it. They added new content to the original Final Fantasy IV. All sorts of neat stuff in there for you.
There's a bridging part too, right? The bridge is
there's a
prelude.
After Years. There's a prelude to the After Years, which is the sequel. So you have kind of like a Final Fantasy IV Part 1, 1.5, and then 2.
Sweet.
It's a ton of fun. It's favorite Final Fantasy. So
there you have it.
There
Mike,
it is.
You're number 7.
Number 7. I almost, sadly, this is going to sound goofy, I almost forgot this game came out because there were so many good games this year.
There's so many, good games.
There are some pretty good games.
Great games.
Few great games, but some, LA Noire is my number 7. Which
all
is
the way at number 7.
All the way down at number 7. It's the story was kind of where it fell off for me a little bit near the end there. I got a little repetitive, little weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the graphics, the overall, just the gameplay, just how smooth everything felt for the most part. The soundtrack, the voice work, the face capture for the graphics was almost so good to the point where it was distracting. Like I'd be sitting there during cutscenes watching their faces and watching how well everything's synced up. But just the progression of the game, moving from different desks, all the different cases, the DLC that they added to the game too. I mean, it's a shame that
they're
things
releasing
didn't...
the complete edition now, which is a slap in the face of anyone who purchased everything separately. But
that you can't really blame that one on them, though. I mean, every game does that. I mean, you have Borderlands Game of the Year, slap in the face.
You should call it something else, though. They'll
Follow
call it
Game of the
complete,
Year,
because you feel like, well, what did I buy before? The incomplete version?
Well,
yes.
yeah, but I mean,
yes,
it's just a word. I mean,
cool.
Whatever. The other thing, though, if things would have worked out a little bit better with Bondi and Rockstar, maybe we would have had a little bit more DLC. Unfortunately, I think we got about 5 or 6.
Or follow-up to the game, or just keeping those guys on.
Follow-ups can still happen, because it's a Rockstar property. So.
Cool. My number 7 was a 3-way tie. It was a 3-way tie between...
So now you're at... you're
something
10.
that literally comes out today, Mario Kart 7, which is excellent. It is the best online multiplayer game Nintendo has ever done. It works, actually, which is actually really neat. No lag. I was playing with people from Japan on a 3DS in my living room, and there was no lag. Like, none whatsoever. No slowdown. Matches started right up. The game itself is excellent. They added the underwater stuff, the gliding. But that's not my number 7. Other tie was Skyward Sword, which I've been bad-mouthing all year, and it turns out to be actually an excellent game. So, I want to spend more time with that, though. But my actual number 7 goes to Catherine for the PS3 and the 360.
I'm glad it's on there at all, because I was worried it wouldn't be.
You know what, though? It is really their Rockstar table tennis of this generation, where they're just like, let's see if a Shimigami game would work. Like our style, our HD, whatever our style of game, and it does. And while the puzzle stuff was kind of lost on a lot of people, and is a very niche title, the art direction, the cutscenes, and whatnot, and just the overarching story and how different it was, unique of an experience of a game experience this summer, I have to give it to Catherine at number 7. Number 6, Rob.
Number 6. I'm gonna go with.
I won't actually do.
I'm actually gonna go with another one that's an older title that's been re-released. Street Fighter 3 Online Edition for the PlayStation Network. I've been playing it on. I think it's on the Xbox. As well.
On both. Yep.
Yeah. So there it is.
That's it. There's not much to say.
Not much to say. If you played Street Fighter 3, you know why I picked it. So
you can play it online now, and it's all good. Yeah. Looks great in HD as well. Mike, you're number 6.
Number 6, another game that came out so long ago that I can almost
a year ago.
Almost barely even remember. Dead Space 2.
Okay.
Came out at the beginning of the year. That's my number 6.
I don't know if that one's going to get a lot of attention from anywhere for Game of the Year.
But it's a shame because
it's
such a good game, though. And that's the thing. I almost forgot because there's been so much lately. But as a follow-up to Dead Space 1, which was like one of the most underrated games, period, it was a longer game, better for the... Yeah,
when it was a horror game before it became silly. Yeah,
I don't think it ever really became silly though. Whatever. Anyway, it was longer. It looked better. Yeah. The story tied in really, really well with the first game. They made Isaac a much more believable and realistic character in that he actually talks and you see his face. Mm-hmm. The upgrades and stuff like that they added to the game, super cool.
How did you? Sorry, how did you feel about the tie-ins for that? Like there was the DLC stuff.
Extraction.
Did you play it at all?
Well, played Extraction. That was the other thing too. If you played it on PS3, you got Extraction for free, which is awesome with move support. It wasn't the greatest port, but it's free. You can't really argue free. There was a lot of DLC, extra things you could download towards it.
Like a comic or something.
It was a digital comic thing that you got with
it. The one that came out before it that gave you items for the game apparently wasn't admittedly that good, but
no, it was not. The game itself, barring none of the, excluding a lot of the DLC stuff, which again wasn't tremendously good, it stands on its own as being one of the best games this year. Number 6.
Actually, number 6 of the year. My number 6 goes to a game that I was unable to complete, and I think a lot of people will join me on this. I think you guys both beat it, did you not? Dark Souls for the PS3 and 360. You didn't? No. I played it for a very lengthy time and took down a few bosses and some optional areas I didn't know I had to do, but there's no doubt that it's great to have a Demon's Souls now that we won't be threatened the server shut down every couple months. Again, innovation, you can't really beat it. Dark Souls has online play unlike any other game. It has a great action RPG feel, lots of items, stuff to do, bosses to beat. Mike almost quit video games because of it, so I'm sure it's on his list somewhere.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. But Dark Souls is definitely my number 6 of the year. Number 5.
My number 5, also for the PlayStation.
Is it a remake?
No, it's actually not a remake.
Oh, wow.
I went with Batman Arkham City for number 5. If you're a fan of the comic book character or in the movies or whatever, Batman at all, really you're going to enjoy it. It's easily one of the most complete Batman, I guess you'd say, appearances or stories that's ever been told in a video game.
They didn't leave anybody out this time.
Exactly, if only for the Rogues Gallery. There's practically anybody that you could think of who's not, been invented in the last year has made an appearance in the game. So it was a really fun game, though. I liked it. Yep, Rocksteady. Good job.
Good stuff.
Big Mike, number 5.
Number 5. You already talked about it a little bit, Catherine.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool to see a departure from the usual Shin Megami kind of stuff, but it still had their feel to the game. You know what I mean? Art direction, like you said, the graphics, the story is completely wacky, especially depending on some of the choices you make. It would change. The ending, I'm not going to ruin it for anybody. The ending I got was just completely off the wall, completely bizarre. Just
bad lover.
Really, really good. Oh yeah.
Cool. My own number 5 of the year, I have to give it to my good friend Ed Boon in Mortal Kombat 9. Coming from a series that was covered in garbage, Rob almost
for a long
rolled
time.
His eyes out of his head there. coming from a series that has been just a rolled turd in the last couple of years, like the PS2 generation was not friendly to the Mortal Kombat games. To bring it back in 3D fighting form and have it be this successful, they sold millions of copies, kind of brought it back, resurrected it.
You know what?
And it's a great game. It's the Mortal Kombat game you've wanted.
There's
for the past,
2 things
10
that
years,
I have to say about that. The first thing is that good on them for actually going back to its roots. The game is way better than most of the stuff in the PS2 generation. But the other thing I would have to say to that would attribute to its success is the web series for the Mortal Kombat. I can't remember what it was called.
It ended up not being very good, but sure.
No, I mean, but the hype from it, right? Is kind of where they
Mortal Kombat made a comeback in 2011.
Exactly.
We can say that. That's why it's my number 5.
I don't like fighting games, but I played Mortal Kombat and it was super fun.
It's fun.
So you got to give it that.
Number 4 to Robbie.
My number 4.
Number 4.
There we go. My number 4. You already talked about it again. Dark Souls for me. Really nothing much else to be said about it other than the fact that it is quite possibly one of the most challenging games in this generation that I've played. And I'm no stranger to challenging games. I grew up with Mega Man, like with old NES Mega Mans. I know what a tough game is, and you know what? Hats off to them. It's a game that I have to put down after a little while just because it gets pretty frustrating.
Start headbutting controllers in half.
Yeah.
Number 4 to Mike.
Dragon Age 2.
Oh,
Another game I almost forgot came out this year.
That's pretty high up on the list.
Well, I'll probably get
Noir and
probably get a little bit of flack for that, but no, when I actually got into Dragon Age 2, I didn't put it down. Like I just played it all the way through. So that kind of to me says something about the game. I found it to be a lot better than Origins. I wasn't a huge fan of Origins because it just felt so dated to me, but 2 is a more modern game. It doesn't hit everything. I mean, it had a little bit of repetition. A lot of the dungeons and stuff like that pop up like
environments
over and over again. Yeah, exactly. They're exactly the same.
Game came out this year.
Yeah, I thought it came out last year at Christmas for some reason, but no, it came out this year in April.
Yeah.
April or March, yeah.
It was February.
Really?
Sure, yeah, it was around the end of February, early March.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, that's BioWare's release window. They love that.
But the characters, I thought the characters were pretty good for the most part. They took some stuff away, simplified some things, but they made the story a little bit better, which I kind of prefer in most stuff. I think that's why a lot of the people that liked Origins weren't a huge fan of 2. Yep. But number 4.
Number 4 to myself. I have to give it to a game that surprised me at E3 and was a lot of fun, and I've since played it in multiplayer by myself. And it's, you know what, people give Nintendo flack for their constant rehashes, but when they deliver the goods in the form of Kirby's Return to Dreamland, what a great game. 4-player multiplayer, more or less plays like the adventure mode from Smash Brothers. You have Kirby, Waddle Dee. You can play as DDD and Meta Knight and whatnot. Get all the crazy the original power-ups. Like we're talking Superstar, like Sword Kirby and Fire Kirby and stuff like that.
Kirby's Adventure.
A great game. There's some mini games in there as well. You're just going to different worlds, collecting things in a side-scrolling level, and it's done very well. And they delivered the goods, which people after playing Epic Yarn were kind of like, well, where's our traditional Kirby game? And here it is, and it's excellent. Nintendo's best game of the year.
Funny story, like I was saying to Rob, though, is that after Epic Yarn, everybody wanted a classic Kirby, and then now that they're given a classic Kirby, I've read multiple reviews of people saying that, why would you just remake Kirby? No, because you people need to figure out what you want. I'm speaking as Nintendo here. You people need to figure out what you want.
As if I'm speaking on behalf of my wallet, I would say I hate the fact that they rehash the same thing. It's copy-paste, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm speaking on behalf of myself, Nintendo to me is the last vestige of classic video gaming. In that, you know what you're kind of going to get. You play Zelda, you know you're not going to get any animations that look anywhere near actual human animations. You're not going to get voice acting. You're going to get the run of the, you're going to get par for the course. Kirby was that. Mario Kart was that this year. They are moving it forward, and as much as there's online play and multiplayer, and you're going to have to address that. But with Nintendo, I feel they can keep doing the same thing over and over again, and I'll keep buying it. And not complain as much as if they did something drastic with their franchises.
If you're stuck in 2004,
Nintendo. My only problem with them is they don't move things forward in as much as, like, what was their last new property they made? Pikmin? Was that like the last thing that was like, this is new on the scene, Pikmin, Nintendo property, and that's the last thing they did. They should do more of that, and then keep everything else kind of the same, I would say.
2 divisions.
To their credit,
they can get away with it.
They've tried switching things up.
And
sometimes it doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
Like, look at Metroid. Yeah. Metroid has they need to go back to 2D, in my opinion.
How did the DS come and go without a 2D side-scrolling Metroid that can take place on 2 screens?
Nobody knows.
Contra did it. They brought Contra back to do that, but Metroid was a miss. No. So we'll be back next week with the top 3 for each of us. So stay tuned. For myself, Rob, and Mike, we'll see you in a week.
How are things on the West Coast? I hear you moving